Hello, hello. Do I look tired? It's my day off. And let me tell you, a day off when you're Dr. Whimsy is not really a day off. I'm doing a bunch of stuff, including shooting a bunch of videos here in my apartment, which is still undone because I'm trying not to spend money that I don't have. To make a long story short, I realized that trying to be frugal and not having a kitchen is kind of an oxymoron. The initial investment in putting a home together is going to cost you, and so I'm pulling way back for the next couple of months on my finances. I am on practically my zombie apocalypse budget for the next 2 to 3 months. That's what I call it. That's where there are no or very little frills. I'm going to put that aside now and just talk about food waste and my attempts at reducing food waste. So I wanted to make an eggplant salad. You can see this is getting very soft. It's got to be cooked now ASAP, so I'm going to be doing an Israeli salad. I'll show you how to make it. And you guessed it, it's going to be starting with sauteing some onions, which is the second ingredient. This only has a couple ingredients. It's going to be an eggplant, an onion from Imperfect produce, and I chose organic diced tomatoes because tomatoes are genetically modified and heavily sprayed. So these are the main 3 ingredients you're going to be using. Pointing right down there in it's an Israeli dish that I learned. Again, very simple. It's going to be spiced with salt and pepper, and if you want, you can add a little bit of garlic. Like I said, this is a very easy dish. I'm going to start by chopping this eggplant up thin and then putting it in half-moon shaped slices thin, soaking it in salt water. Salt water will drain the acid. Rinse it a couple of times. Let it soak for about 20 minutes to get the acid out. You're going to slice some onions. You'll saute the onions in olive oil. After you've sauteed those for a little bit, we're going to go ahead and we're going to add the eggplant. We're going to cook the eggplant. We're going to add the tomatoes after we've cooked it for a little bit. Put a lid on top. Simmer it on a slow cook for about 10 minutes, give or take. And then that's all there is. Salt, pepper, a little bit of garlic to making an eggplant salad. If you serve it hot, it can be served hot with some cheese toast if you do eat dairy. If not, you can just make some tahini toast. Tahini with a little toast, maybe some avocado, and have this as well. Okay, so join me as I make this wonderful dish. Okay, so I've chopped up, that was a large onion, so as you can see, I've left a little bit. And then here, these have been soaked and sliced into half moons. You could do quarters if you wanted. I want to show you this. This is that dish I made a couple of days ago, and I've already eaten 6 large helpings. Look how much is left. That was from 6 legs. 6 legs, people. 6 legs, and I've got 3 servings left. So 9 servings for 6 chicken legs. That is what we call stretching a chicken. This is really an important point, and I want to have this conversation. This is a conversation I want to have now about what I learned when I lived in Israel. And that is that Israel was founded by immigrants, many of whom could remember the war. They could remember the war. They had grown up for generations in shtetls and ghettos in Europe, where one chicken had to feed 12, 15 people, or it had to feed 10 people twice. So that created a menu of food where the food was stretched. I learned from my experiences in Israel how to feed large amounts of people with very little animal product. I've had 6 large helpings of chicken, rice, and artichoke. I can't eat anymore. It was absolutely delicious. In fact, it's one of the most delicious things I've ever eaten, certainly ever made, but I can't eat anymore, so I'm going to freeze it. So the takeaway there was 9 servings for 6 pieces of chicken. Wow, isn't that great? So that just goes to show ratios, that for those people who are not ready to be vegans, that's fine. There's no judgment. But this is an example of just how little animal product you can put in a meal and people will never know, and it tastes really, really delicious, and you have stretched out that animal product to be 9-10 servings from what the average American would call maybe 3 to 6 servings. Okay, so you want to heat this in a moderate heat because olive oil doesn't do well in high heat. Just to be aware of that. So you're talking about a low to medium heat for a good olive oil. This is 100% organic olive oil, but I got it at a good price. It is available at Trader Joe's they've got some really good deals on olive oil. So I'm just going to add the onions. That is the first thing we're going to do. And we're going to look ahead and saute these. So you can hear it, it's just starting to cook up. I love the smell of onions. I really do. For those people who haven't noticed yet, when I cook, it's always starting with onions sauteing. So I've cooked this down until it's glassy. That took about a few minutes. And now I'm going to go ahead and just add my eggplant. Eggplant will soak up the oil. That's just what it does. And I have had this dish where it was just too oily, just to give you a heads up. So you want to be mindful not to go crazy on the oil with this dish. And now you're going to just mix it together. And to this dish, you're going to add a little bit of salt, depending upon what your salt tastes are. And add plenty of pepper. But when I had this dish, they were very generous with the pepper. And just a little bit of garlic powder. It's optional. I've had it with and without the garlic powder. And now I'm going to go ahead and cover the lid. And after I've bathed the whole, mix it all up with the olive oil, I'm going to go ahead and steam it for about 5 minutes. Okay, so I've let this steam for about 5 minutes on a medium heat, and now I'm going to add my tomatoes. See how simple it is to do this? This was taught to me by a man whose wife had gone to labor, and she was in the hospital. And we had come to visit him to see if he was okay. And of course he was missing his wife. And he came home and he made himself a quick dish because he was back and forth between the hospital and home. And this is what he made himself. And he served it with some nice cheese and bread, some rustic bread. And for him, that was a good meal. All right, I'm going to go ahead and put the lid on this. I wonder if his wife, when she got out of the hospital, got a chance to try any of it because it was absolutely delicious. I'm going to put the lid back on this, and I'm going to go ahead and let this cook down at a low temperature for another 5-10 minutes. Then I'll go ahead and plate it and show you how it looks. Okay, so in order for it not to get too mushy, I lifted the lid and I just let it slow cook with the lid off of it just to soften the eggplant so that the eggplant would not be tough. And I'm going to go ahead and plate it. And as you can see, I've got a little bit of cheese toast there that's got some butter and Marmite on it. And this looks like it's going to serve about 8 to 10 servings as a side dish. It's up to you how much you want to serve. But if you're looking at that as a serving, I think we're going to be able to easily get about 8 to 10 servings. Cost of the eggplant was maybe $2, $1.49 for the tomatoes. The onion was from Imperfect Produce, we'll say 50 cents. So we're talking about, say, a little bit of olive oil. We're talking about, realistically, about $4 to make this dish. Serves, we'll say, conservatively 6 people. So the total cost of this meal served. You can see I have a little bit of salad from the night before I put on there. I'll say that this is going to run me about $1.25 for this dinner. Kroger cheddar cheese, some toast from Trader Joe's is where I got the bread. There's a little butter and there's a little Marmite. So I calculated 50 cents for half a piece of toast and approximately 50 to 75 cents per serving for the eggplant salad. So that about wraps it up here. Okay, there you have it, Whimsy's dinner. Vegetarian again, but I do love my cheese, and I think it's fairly healthy. We're looking at calorie-wise that 80-20 that Dr. Whimsy wants to see her fellow broke aristocrats at, where 80% of the calories are coming from the plant kingdom. If you can do that and make it from scratch as minimally processed, then I know I'm going to be proud of you. All right, thanks for watching, everybody. Be sure and share, like, subscribe, and tell me what you are doing to take care of yourself without breaking the bank. And if you are going to do the frugal grocery challenge for next month, we're going to talk a little bit about the rules in the next video for what we want to see people eating. All right, take care. Bye.